All right, welcome in everybody. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network. Welcome to our guest, Martie. Hello, Martie. How are you doing today?
Hi, Tammy. Thank you for having me here. And I am all about wellness. That's what's made me survive all my adversity. So I'm happy to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. And where in the world are you coming to us from?
Well, I was born in Columbia, South America, but now I am residing in Cary, North Carolina, right outside of the Raleigh area. So,
Oh, very nice. I've been there once and
yes.
it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful there. Wonderful.
Yeah,
It's not really too far away from me, really, as the crow flies. I think I'm just north of Toronto. So it's
there we go.
on the planet, on the scale of the planet, we're pretty close together. So yeah, I've seen you on ENTV Today with Amos, a awesome interview that you did over there, and you have quite the story. Oh my word! So yeah, why don't we just let you jump in and just tell us a little bit about who Martie is?
Woo, Marty is a Jackie of all trades, mistress of none. And I I used to think I was very cursed or just meant to be driven into insanity my whole life. But honestly, the pandemic hit and it made me see things in a different light. And I learned about forgiveness. I learned about self-love. I didn't know that limiting beliefs existed and that I had been the culprit or responsible for most of my mayhem, even though bad things happened to me, even though I've had 27 surgeries, even though I was in a wheelchair, even though I was called a mistake when I was 7 years old. All of that was just a jumble of things in my head that wouldn't allow me to see or or dream or plan a vision of any type because everything was swimming in there like luggage overload. And I couldn't figure out what it was that things kept repeating, why it was that they were repeating like these patterns. And I started seeing, my God, duh. Excuse me, you weren't paying attention. You were all about the victimhood. You were all about you suffered and woe is me and life stinks and I don't know why. And I would just bury myself deeper in my muck with no light of hope, no light of resilience, which I discovered during the pandemic. And that was the thing, I think that was key. During the pandemic, I've been blessed with a miracle already because I had seen the movie The Passion with Mel Gibson, and I was raised a Catholic, but it was like we went to church, and then as soon as we walked out in the parking lot, it was on hold till next week. So I didn't live my faith. I didn't know how to apply it, but something kept attracting me. And I think well, in a sense, it is God, that it just wants you back. But he's trying to hint to you, and we don't pay attention because nobody tells us which way to go. So I just stumbled my way through life. I've been engaged twice before I met my husband, who is now, we're 41 years happily married.
Oh,
And praise be to God, he was the one that accompanied me through all this adversity because he was my cheerleader. He was always there, never complaining. And I was like, wow, I kept thinking I was damaged goods because my parents had said they didn't want girls, and I was a mistake. So all that I carried with me kept adding to the already limited beliefs I had. So a pandemic hit. I had already gotten out of the wheelchair, but I became bionic because I have a spine stimulator in me. And
wow.
that spine is fed through my vertebral column, and I actually have to charge myself like a cell phone. So it's pretty wild,
Wow.
but God gave me a sense of humor as well. And at one point in time, when Jane Fonda had her workout videos of buns of steel, I said, "Oh, okay, mine is of titanium. I got a bun of titanium." So it's like I would always try to find the funny, maybe not the good, but the funny out of whatever was happening to me. So I think that was like my defense mechanism to laugh at what, and plus I got tired of crying because I was just a pity party. Well, the pandemic struck. I decided to take courses instead of watching TV, waiting to see when we were going to all die, because that's what we were fed, that it was disaster, catastrophe, and it's over. The
Right.
party's over. But and this is where I say God said, okay, you've already been down this road. You want to go back again? You want to go right back to where you started? I had already been transforming physically. I lost 70 pounds and 70 inches.
Wow.
The story didn't stop there. I became a personal trainer. It's like, ooh, I got self-confidence. Ooh, this feels pretty good. And now let me see how I can promote my product globally. And I went to Europe through Zoom. Thanks to Zoom and technology, I didn't let that be scary, even though I was petrified of speaking in public, petrified of looking at anybody in the eye, because my whole life I had seen just the top of my feet, very uncomfortable with new situations. Why? I moved 49 times in my lifetime. I went to 18 different schools. You don't adapt quickly. You learn how to adapt, but you don't adapt quickly to the fact that you haven't had nothing long term. So you're always on the fly and always winging it and figuring out the missing chunks of your life. And I either knew a subject real well or never heard of it until I got to college. But I like the way God lined me out with all these things, because I probably wouldn't have appreciated any of it had I had it all like clockwork. Okay, so the pandemic hit. I took a book. It was like a 3-day webinar or whatever, and to teach me how to write. And I said, I've always wanted to write my book. Let me see. Let me go in there. I know they want my money. That's what I kept saying. They want my money. And I went in there, and I was the first day. I'm a avid photographer, but not with the camera. I'm with the iPhone. I love to take pictures, and nature is like, if I'm not in nature, I don't get my fix. That was important to me. And now that I had learned exercising, I had the endorphins going. I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I see why people want to go out there and jog in the nature and all that. So it was just putting on all the tools that I needed to see with the bigger lens, what actually my purpose, my passion, and my mission were. So the second day of the workbook or the books thing, I got my title, and I already started outlining my chapters. And why? Because I had already started a YouTube way out of my comfort zone. Didn't even know we had those either. I thought, I'm kind of happy where I'm at when I find the little wedge or whatever. But no, I saw that I needed to jump out of my comfort zone and start seeing things in a different light. I did YouTube channels in Spanish, which I learned English before I did Spanish, even though Spanish is my native tongue. But I always got in trouble speaking Spanish. Somehow or another, in Colombia was not the same thing in Venezuela, was not the same thing in Puerto Rico, Argentina, or any other. Everybody has their own dialect. So
Right.
I said one time, I said a fruit in Venezuela, and in Colombia it was something else. And I said, oh, I'm done. I'm not speaking any Spanish whatsoever. It just gets me in trouble and dirty looks. I'm going with English. I'm sticking to the English mode. And it was funny because when I was 5 years old, I was an interpreter for my mom.
Mm.
And these experiences they're comical now, but back then I was scared out of my wits. My mom would take me to the gynecologist for her and would ask me to translate. And I'm like, what is that? I no clue, no clue. But and I would call to hook up the utilities when we moved, because we moved so many times. Yes, we need our lights cut on and our phone. And they said, get off the phone, kid. And I'd say, Mom, they don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to you. Don't be shy. Do it. Do it. So I
Right.
was like, I don't know. So I kind of gave up Spanish for 8 years, honestly. But I wrote my book. I published it in December of 2022. And then all of a sudden in January 2023, I got my first award on resilience. And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is kind of cool. And then they called me halfway through the year in 2023, and they said, you've been nominated for a humanitarian award, Woman of Heart, something. And I went, I think they have the wrong Smith. I kept thinking, I still didn't believe in myself quite that way. But then they called me later on in September and said, no, not only did you get nominated, you won. And meanwhile, I was like, oh, that looks good on the resume. I didn't really put it any weight to what it was happening with the book.
Right.
And then with the third, while I was picking up my award in England, next door in Ireland, they had nominated or voted me as Women of Story of Global Impact. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? It's just so mind blowing for me to even witness this. I get back home, and then Latinos Sin Fronteras in Spanish nominated me for Inspiration 2023. And I was like, okay, God, I get it. I get it. I get it. You gave me all this stuff. Now go with it. But meanwhile, I'm still feeling a little guilty because I'm a native Colombian. How come you don't put your book out in Spanish? I was like, oh God, this is a bigger challenge than even writing a book, because I wanted to sound like I did in English, since I grew up most of my life in the Anglo section of my life. So I was like, I don't want to mess up Spanish. I started getting all those flashbacks, and I said, I need to get someone that knows both languages, that knows me and my tones and my expressions. And even though there's certain things that just don't translate, but I got the gist of it in Spanish. I published it in Spanish. So here I am with 2 books, English and Spanish, Resilience Nourishes the Soul. Then I decided to go even further in publishing 2 anthologies with other women. And that's how I got these awards. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. I think I could do this for a living. I love this. This, nobody's telling me what to do. I get to express myself. And that was the hugest, like epiphany. Like, that's what my problem had been my whole life. I was never able to express myself. I was never able to question anything, because, oh, how come you question that? Where'd you get that idea? And that's like I was threatening something that I didn't know what I was threatening, and all I was doing was being curious. But I didn't, that it wasn't misunderstood in a major way. Okay, fast forward. We moved to Charleston, South Carolina. I loved it there. I went back to school. I was older than most of my professors, and I took radiation therapy. And helping treat cancer patients taught me how to live, how to appreciate life. And these children, especially the children, I could relate to them, and they're like, I'm here all by myself. And when my parents are here, they're just crying and they don't smile. And I want to remember someone giggling. I want to know what it's like to laugh. And I was like, well, maybe I can help you. I don't know. So that was, to me, that was like, this is cool. This is so cool. And I became a Sunday school teacher for 35 years. And I wasn't blessed with children, but I think God was putting all that missing, just nurturing and everything that comes with parents. I respect highly moms and dads, but most of the kids that went through my Sunday schools were my friends, and they've kept up with me my whole time. And here are the parents going, wow, you're not the mother, but they keep up with you more than their own mother. I was like, well, I was their friend. I didn't tell them what to do. I just showed them the good way to do things.
Right. Oh
So
my.
it's just been, I've had a wonderful life, and I never thought those words would come out of me. But what's most important is I want to share that even though you can be through hell, even though all these bad things happen and we think we're alone in the world, we are not alone. We are not exempt. Everyone suffers. Everyone has physical, emotional, spiritual, everything's battles. And we need to set ourselves in our shoes, in our authenticity, in our real life, what we love, what we don't like, and sort it all out. And I say, now I'm coaching about resilience. And I say the most important thing is know who you are, know what you're about. Know what you want, know where you want to be. And when life hits you at the end of the journey, what do you have to show for yourself? What did you offer someone else? Did you make this world a better place, or did you just bitch, moan, and complain about everything that went wrong? And because you did that, you missed out on life. And that's what I want to share: hope and resilience. And I want someone to just take a drop and say, okay, maybe I haven't been looking at everything that happened to me. Maybe I need to examine from a different angle and say, hey, I could try this. And so what if you try and you fail? That's how you learn. The success comes from failures. They kind of separated it in one end here and one end there, and never told us that you had to cross all of the paths to get to the other side. But I'm that's what I'm focusing now, is teaching kids, especially young people, that hey, yes, life is pretty crazy right now. And I don't think I've ever imagined in my whole career that I would even live any of this, but I wasn't able to continue my radiation therapy. And I was also, oh, I didn't tell you the fun part was I joined the Air Force when I was 18 years old. I signed a delayed entry program contract, but I had a very strict household, and my parents were just blown away that I even dared to do that. And I was like, this is my independence. I get to be my own boss and do my own thing, even though other people are going to boss me around. But to me, it was a cakewalk compared to the strict childhood I had. Plus, the fact that my dad was trying to hook me up with some guy to marry a marriage arrangement. And I was like, but then I got engaged to the second guy, and strike three, the third is a charm, because that's who I ended up marrying, my husband. So it's just like, you got to go, you got to roll with the punches. You got to dust yourself off and just believe that things are going to get better, that you are alive, that you are a miracle, and anything and everything is possible as long as you believe in yourself.
Isn't that the dang truth? It totally is. 100%. I'm sitting across from, well, I feel like I'm sitting across the table from you, but we're in totally different places, but I feel like we're soul sisters. So much
That's
of
it.
what you just said. I mean, I've been through my
Thank you.
own crazy hell, and I totally get it. And wow, just the turnaround of how to take yourself from all that crap, all that muck, all that manure, all that stuff that we don't want to look at. And
Mhm.
the only way to get out is to start,
Looking at it,
yeah,
facing it, and
yeah,
saying,
let's clear it away.
I can't
Yeah,
do this. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's crazy, but that's life, and we have to learn to adapt. We have to learn to look at it. And that was another thing that I say helped me a bunch, was remove me from the toxicity.
Mm.
And not only what I was feeding myself food wise, but also the people that I would surround myself with. And I don't hold it against them. In fact, they taught me a lot of things that I didn't realize at the moment in time that I was going through it. But I was enabling myself to be a pity party. I would share with all those people, and we would try to outdo each other with who had the worst catastrophe. And that's so unproductive and so not what we need to be living. We need to surround ourselves with those people that tell you the truth, the people that pick out of you talents and treasures that you don't even believe you have. Because that was another thing, that there was people popping up everywhere, and I thought, these people are crazy. I don't think they know who I am. I don't think they know my shoes that I've been. And I would dismiss it, but now I see it was all these little angels that appeared on my way that they kind of kept me like, maybe, well, I don't, I didn't know how to do what they were telling me to do. And now that I've discovered, wow, I should have, I could have, and I would have,
Right.
had I known myself, had I believed in myself. And that's the most important thing, is discovering what you love out of life, and pushing yourself towards it. And it's not impossible to do. Something else I learned to do was dream.
Mm.
I didn't think it was possible to dream. It's like, no, I wasn't blessed with all that. No, Martie, you were super abundantly blessed. Nobody gets to move as many times as you did. Nobody gets to learn adaptability and bouncing back and resilience and tenacity and prudence and prosperity and everything else that's happened because you dealt with it
Right.
in your crazy way. You dealt with it, and I got you out of it. Now go and share it with the world.
Right, 100%. That's a thing, right? You discover that spark, that thing that's
Yeah,
turns the life back on and
that's
says,
it.
"Hey,
That's it.
we
That's what we
still
need.
got stuff to do. We still got places to go and things to share. Because why
Mhm.
are we still here if we go through all of that stuff?" just to sit on a beach and look at the water, wonderful, that's
Yeah.
lovely. But there's definitely a deeper purpose. And
Yeah,
I know,
well, what kind of footprints do you want to leave behind? Because that's why the world is crazy, because nobody wants to take responsibility for themselves.
right?
So we just kind of assume that everything is going to come at us one day, one of these days. No, one of these days doesn't exist. You got Monday through Sunday. Okay. There's no one of these days or one day. No, no, no. And that was something else, a big hello, what are you waiting on? You got to start now. Life is short. Life
Yeah,
is momentary. And if we don't, if we say we're going to do something, start working on it little by little, baby steps. Even if you don't think you could do it, start it. And anything and everything will happen if you keep pursuing.
right. Yeah. And stop the pity party. And there's
Yeah.
always something worse. And I believe with my whole heart, if we continue with that mode that we get stuck in, and we're still looking for more stuff to happen, and it
It's
will.
a slippery slope. It's
Yeah,
not that you don't gain any nothing. You just actually learn all the bad stuff that can happen.
right. And it gets worse and worse and worse until
Yes.
you actually pick yourself up and decide to start living and
I
begin
think
again.
everybody has to hit bottom sooner or later. And that's the thing. I don't think we want to.
Mm,
In our brain says, oh, no, 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 protect yourself. That's why we get in the comfort zone. That's why we put a little cushion in a pillow and set it up nicely decorated. Oh, I'm fine. Everything's good. No, it's not. No, it's not. You haven't faced anything that you didn't settle, all these emotions that keep swimming and popping up. And you know you blaming your mama, your daddy, and your relatives and your couple, or whatever your partner, friendship. No, it's you. It's you.
right. It totally is. It
And
totally
it
is.
takes courage. It's not a cakewalk. It's not something everybody wants to do, but those that do it and find out, that's why I look like the Energizer Bunny now.
Right. Full of it, full of passion, full of life, full of energy, full of wisdom, all that stuff to share. So do you take clients? Are you working as a coach? I know you're super busy
Yeah,
doing
I'm
lots of
I'm
things.
I'm super busy because now I'm going into the speaking gigs, but that's all right. Yeah, I do free consults, 15-minute consult. If you are willing to accept that you need to change and take a look at yourself, I'll mess with you. If not, they're not ready. It
Right.
everybody's in a different process, everybody's on a different wavelength of where they want to be. And until they realize, hey, I need to do something, that's when you say I need to do something, that's when you come to me, and I will line you out as best as I can share with you. I don't propose that I have all the answers. No, I'm just sharing what worked with me. I'm very honest. I'm very passionate. I'm very loyal, and I'm very private about anybody's matter. So why? Because I've been in those shoes. I don't want to share with the world everything that I don't even know what I'm sharing. So you have to be brave enough to dare to do that. And then if you talk to me, or if you read my book and you decide, well, no, maybe I need to listen to this girl, follow me. I don't care. Just do something for yourself. There's many people out here in this world now, because of all the things that have happened, that offer you excellent advice, and it's up to you to find the glove that fits and go with it. So I don't propose that, oh, everybody come to me, I get you squared away. No, 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 you got to be in the right situation for you to discover that. So I offer that. I also have a YouTube channel in Spanish, and now I'm putting the English subtitles. I got invited to a finishing school in India for women to learn resilience, young girls to learn resilience. And that is so cool to me, because I keep getting like the global thing coming with me, and I'm like, oh, now it's happening. Okay, all right. So yes, I'm available right now, but time is getting smaller for people, and I just want to help. I just want to help get that message out. And I want other people, and that's another thing. It's not about me being over you, telling you what to do. No, it's about us growing together and learning from each other, because that's important as well. we all have something to offer. It's a matter of us taking a look and saying, well, yeah, I am unique. I do know, I believe, and then you see the magic, and it is magic because nothing like discovering what you're made out to be.
Right? I think that's the biggest and the best treasure that there is to find is who we truly are.
Mm.
All those silver linings become those golden nuggets. And I think that builds our own heart of gold. And that is the treasure. That's what we come to this plane for, is to
That's
get
it.
that. And once you have it, once you see it, once you even glimpse it, you don't, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but once you see it, you want more.
Yeah,
So
that's wow. And
that
that's the
thing, right?
thing. Those little baby steps when you start progressing and saying, oh, wow, that wasn't that bad. And then you start getting your own motivation because you're like, if I could do that, then maybe I could do this. And then you'll look back. Then you'll look back in a different light and say, well, dang, I could do a lot more than I thought. And that's what it is. It's as simple, it sounds simple. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Follow your heart. Don't follow this thing, get you all confused. And once you reject everything that might be a threat to you, but be courageous, face it, resolve it. And if you can't, get help or whatever it is you have to do, write it down, make a list of all the blessings you've had, because if you're still alive, you're blessed. And then make all the list of the things that you keep repeating. And then you'll see, oh my God, just a huge list of blessings. Why am I worried about the little piddly stuff? Exactly. And
Right.
and I've had these conversations with me. And if someone would have been on my shoulder listening to what I was saying to myself, that girl done gone crazy.
Yep.
But it's true.
But
It's
sometimes you need to. I think
uh-huh.
it's part of the journey is getting a little crazy and
I
finding
call
a
it I
thing.
call it creative chaos, which is the next title of my book. I'm a creative chaos warrior because it is handling all that confusion, the confusion that happens because we're not paying attention to what we really want to be.
Right. Yeah. My goodness. Okay. So if our ladies would like to connect with you, how can they do so?
I am on every social media I think that God made. But I will leave you links and then they can follow me on there. And also the book is on Amazon, Resilience Nourishes the Soul. And I'm working on the audio version of it, which this is all new to me. The business is new to me. So I didn't know I should have put audio beginning with, but I was old school. I like to hold my book and I figured I had to have something to sign.
Yeah. I like old fashioned books myself. I like
Yeah,
flipping the pages and,
that's it.
pausing and setting it on my lap. And, I like holding it in my hand. Like that's so
Yeah.
exciting. I'm super interested in reading your book and
It's
learning more about
easy. I
you.
didn't use complicated. And that was another thing that I used to be very scientifically because I went to medical school and radiation therapy. I was like, oh no, you need to technical. And I thought I had to be William Shakespeare to write my book. And now I see that the plainer the languages, the more people understand, the more people want to hear more. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Atta girl, that's fabulous. Okay, I have one more thing. The speaker speak off over on ENTV today.
Mhm.
You're in that, are you not?
Yes, yes, yes,
And
yes.
and is it tomorrow is the judging or the final?
I think it's the end of the month somehow or another. I
We
just
still
kind
have
of
some time.
I threw
Okay.
myself in there.
Well, good for you. Good for you. The first one that we had, I think there were maybe 7 participants, and I think there
I
was
don't even know what the
only
contest.
one was a man, maybe two, but all the other ones were here in this group, in the Women's Wellness Network.
Oh wow.
Now here you are in the Women's Wellness Network. So yeah, there's something to be
Thanks to
said about
Amos. Amos is the one that turned me on to you. I didn't know you existed, but then again, I don't know a lot of things exist, and all of a sudden they're coming at me, and I'm like, whoa, whoa. Okay, I need a personal assistant. I need a calendar that reminds me every 5 minutes that I have another appointment and I can't be booking myself solid. So, but I'm so excited to be sharing this with the world, and I want other people to feel the same way, the same way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, women of the Women's Wellness Network, we are going to put all of Martie's information into the comments. We'll even put a link to her speak off over on ENTV today so that you can have a look at that also if you're interested. And of course, we'll put the link to the book so that you can check that out also. So I wanted to say thank you very much for coming today, Martie. It was lovely to finally get to connect with you after all my crazy internet issues. And you know, we've been waiting here on the Women's Wellness Network. So thank you very much for coming. And
thank you for having me. And everyone, please just take a look at yourselves and trust yourself. Trust yourself, because be your best friend and don't compare yourself to anybody. And I'm telling you, that makes a big difference in your life. Just that.
such a small thing. We can start with that today, this minute.
Exactly.
This minute, right? Okay. Well,
All
thank
right.
you everybody for watching. And until
Thanks.
next time, be well.
Amen.